What's up, everybody? It's Soren Baker here on Unique Access Entertainment. As always, please hit that subscribe button. It's right down there and it's free. That enables us to keep coming to y'all as often as possible with as many interviews as possible. So please hit that subscribe button, like our content, share it, talk about it, be about it, each one, teach one. And we appreciate your support in getting us this far. If you haven't already, please join. That button's right down there too. There's 3 different ways you could help us. Any of them would be greatly appreciated. Now, today, we have the honor and the privilege of being joined by King T, one of the icons of the game. Thank you for coming through, sir.
What up, Soren?
Man, always great to see you, man. Always great to see you. And one of the many things to celebrate is you got the bass kind of EP compilation album that's just coming out thanks to our mutual friend Claus. So shout out to Claus for making that happen. And one of the things that I'm so excited about with this compilation is it really shows your early singles and putting them all together in a way that really, I think, shows, as I've told you 1,000 times, a lot of your brilliance, but brilliance before you even quote unquote blew up or were on a major label.
Right.
So let's get into some of these songs and, you know, we'll get people hopefully excited to want to get it and stream it and buy it and download it and all that stuff. But with bass, the original version is on this compilation, not the video version, which was also on Act a Fool later.
Yeah.
So
well,
with
so
the
remix was put on the Capitol version. Yeah.
Right.
The original was brought about after we did the 2 singles with DJ Unknown and Techno Hop Records. We did Paybacks some other. And the second single was the coolest, and You Better Bring a Gun on the B side with Mixmaster Spade. So after that, we felt that, you know, we paid our dues and all that, you know what I'm saying? It's time to really start trying to find a real deal. So, but at that time, my man Greg Mack from 1580K Day back in the day, the Mac Attack, he started his own situation label called Mac Daddy Records. And we were doing a lot of things, me and Kool, when we used to live together. We used to do a few things, help producing some of the segments that 1580K was doing, like with Russ Parr and the Mac Attack. We used to do a lot of commercials and produce a lot of commercials for them. And he asked us to, we should do a single for his new label, Mac Daddy Records. So me, Kool, and DJ Bobcat went in the studio and did the song Bass. And Greg Mack put that out on Mac Daddy Records, and that's what was taken and presented to Capitol Records by Ron Syndicate, Ice-T, and Georgina Hossa. And that's what got us the major deal over at Capitol.
Yeah. And I think, too, one of the great things, especially for me, was on the original, you had the Rodney O and Joe Cooley Everlasting Bass that was incorporated. So I know and love that song, and obviously a lot of people do. But for you and Pooh and Bobcat, I want you to break down Everlasting Bass and why that meant so much to you guys.
Oh, that was just one of my favorite songs. And Rodney and Joe, that was, you know, they were family, you know what I'm saying? We was, before we even started making, you know, wax, we were, you know, on the road together, opening up shows for Uncle Jam's Army when they brought other artists in from the East Coast, like Whistle, Real Roxanne, and Beastie Boys and Run DMC. Me and Rodney and other acts used to open up for them. So me and Rodney and Joe were really tight, good friends. We used to love the Everlasting Bass song, and that shit used to sub. So we had to use it. We had to use some part of it.
Yes. Yeah, that's an amazing song. And I remember too, on the 12-inch, the Mac Daddy Records version of it, it had Management by Jerry Heller, which I later was like, I better understood who that was. So how long and what did Jerry Heller do with you early on?
Hey, I don't remember that, but somebody else had told me. I think we did spend a little time with Jerry, you know, trying to figure it out. And I don't think nothing, you know, because Jerry was rolling with Greg Mack with the, you know, and he was dealing with Eric and all them, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, we were all a close, like brothers, you know, a close family, even in, you know, the NWA, before NWA, CIA and all that, you know, we used to hang out. So I think Jerry kind of wiggled his way up in there but I think Jerry put together the contract that me and Pooh had signed with Greg Mack or something. And I think that's how he wiggled up in there. But he did, you know, that quickly went away when I got with Ice and George.
Yeah, Ice and George are incredible. Shout out to them as always. But when you did get the deal with Capitol, why did you decide to put the remix on Act a Fool instead of using the original version of Bass?
Well, Capitol wanted the Bass song to be a single, and actually that's kind of how we got out of the situation with Jerry and Greg. You know, I think we had to fork over a little money too, and we didn't want to use that version, so we just went on and did it all over. Or we would have had to pay them some more. They would have had royalties on the house. It was some type of business decision, so we just went on and remixed it.
Okay. And very striking in the video, I remember I'd never seen speakers that big. So
Yeah.
whose speakers were those?
Oh, that was this cool music people. DJ Slip, who ended up
Compton's Most Wanted?
Yeah. We all used to kick it. As a matter of fact, the cover of the Bass single that we did on Mac Daddy Records was taken in Gardena at Music People's headquarters. That was part of their system, that speaker. But yeah, they used to do the sound for a lot of Uncle Jam's Army situations too, and that's where we always used to get our turntables from when we were in the studio and things like that. So, you know, Music People, they set that whole scene up, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to DJ Slip.
Okay. Yes. Big shout out to Slip, man. Big fan of his work too. And speaking of the early business, other than the Mac Daddy Records, some of these songs that are on the Bass compilation were on Techno Hop. So how did you get into doing the business with them, with Unknown? And I know he did a lot of the co-production with Pooh, but how did that end up happening?
Well, it goes to Scotty D. All that goes to Scotty D. You know, I was a kid. I was part of the Fila Shop crew with DJ Pooh and J-Roll and Suave D, rest in peace, and some other cats, you know what I'm saying? And Scotty, you know, I don't know if you know, I used to DJ.
You were J-Ro's DJ, right?
Yeah. So I was the whole crew's DJ. The name of the crew was Total Control. DJ Pooh, J-Roll, and a couple of other cats. And like I said, we used to open up for a lot of acts Uncle Jam's Army used to bring in town. But, you know, when we would rehearse at the shop and things like that, I would hop on the mic sometime and just MC while Pooh was DJing and things like that. And Pooh just, you know, got at me and said, you know, I really have a nice voice and I should just think about MCing, you know, instead of DJing. Yeah, I just think he didn't want the competition, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, and I ended up just sticking with the MCing and Pooh ended up giving me the name. It was Pooh's idea to start calling me King T. So that's where the King T comes from, and it just took off from there. You know.
And what was the real genesis of that?
To call me King T?
Yeah.
I guess it was the regalness and the voice, how my voice carried and how, you know, royally I sounded, and you know, That's what I was told.
But what about the T? Because that's not your name though. So where'd the T come
Oh,
from?
I mean, well, yeah, but my DJ name was DJ Terry T.
Oh, Terry T. Okay, there you go.
Yeah. They just started calling me King T. And, you know, Tila from the Fila Shop, you know, because my favorite rapper was Tila Rock from Queens, New York.
It's
And
yours.
yeah. And I kind of stole his name and I was calling myself Tila, had it all, you know, on my hat and all, you know, saying, so they just started calling me King Tila, you know. That's
okay.
What
I've known you so long, I've always forgotten to ask you that. So that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Okay, so with the bass compilation, Payback, some others on there, of course, as it should be. But I was interested too, because you were talking about on the song about people dissing your family, but not letting it bother you and all these different things. Like, what was happening in your life at the time that made you write that?
Just being a young kid, when I wrote that, about 16, 17 years old, and being insecure about just being an insecure kid, not wanting to go to school because I didn't have the right clothes to wear, and you know, just always being talked about, called skinny, big lips, all that. You know, that's just an insecure kid writing his problems out, you know, and expressing himself, really.
Okay. Yeah, because it's funny too about people's they were saying, like, people were saying you were soft and all this different stuff, but I was like, again, kind of the regalness slash hearing this early stuff, I would have never thought that from listening to you. So it's interesting that you had said that in the lyrics.
Who said I was soft? When was I soft?
Yeah, told people you were soft, but
Oh, well, I get it.
yeah, that's why I was kind of like, huh?
Well,
But
yeah,
anyway,
that how it was for me in school. I don't know if you know, my mother moved us out to Houston, Texas in about 83, 84, and it was real bad down there. I didn't want to go to school, and it was just different. And you know, I got talked about a lot. I was frail, skinny, but one thing I knew how to do was DJ. You know what I'm saying? So I just put, you know, tried to master that. And I always said, you know, if I'm able to express myself, all these things would come out. And I, you know, started out going, you know, I did it through the turntables. And then once I was able to get on the mic, I just wrote it out.
And then as you started your career as a rapper started taking off, how did your experience and background as a DJ, do you think, affected how you made songs, how you wrote, how you perform?
Mainly by what I was influenced by, and I mean, you know, every rapper when they started out tried to, you know, emulate someone else. You know what I'm saying? What I did was I just took all the rappers that I was digging and tried to melt them together and create my own lane, and like I said, start really just wanting to be a DJ that, you know, I was able to be a producer too. So I know how I wanted my stuff to sound, and you know, and that was it. I already knew what I wanted, and we wanted to be different, you know. That's all, you know, just wanting to be different and create our own lane.
Well, the other thing with the Paybacks and Mother is, as it was coming out, was early in the wave, but in the wave of a lot of the James Brown samples being used. So given that sound is so identified with New York, but you guys did it on the early part of that wave, or right as the wave was happening, how do you think your guys' presentation of it was a little different from what the New York cats were doing with it?
Well, it was I think it it surprised a lot of people, and it worked out great because it was able to make it. It was able to make it on East Coast airwaves, you know, and I think it was one of the first West Coast produced rap records to ever be played on, you know. When DJ Kool and Bobcat went down to work on the Bigger and Deffer album with LL Cool J, they took it down there with them and gave it to DJ Red Alert, Marley, and they both played it. And then, like I said, they never played a lot of West Coast out there, so I was one of the first. So we made a big splash with it, and I felt proud about that because I was very heavy on, you know, East Coast rap.
Be sure to check out the History of Gangster Rap by Soren Baker. He's official.
History of Gangster Rap features exclusive interviews with Ice-T, Snoop Dogg, MC Ren, the D.O.C, and dozens of others. The History of Gangster Rap, a definitive look at how Los Angeles changed rap forever.
In Los Angeles, the streets definitely set the tone of the hip-hop music.
At 19, I got a $50,000 car.
My whole angle always was, I'll be street, but I will always tell you the horrors that go along with this life.
There will be penalties and casualties for just wearing the wrong color in somebody's neighborhood.
And once gangster rap made it from the streets to the TV, the genre exploded.
With Fab 5 on Yo MTV Raps with NWA.
Yo MTV, it just catapulted us from being local heroes to national gangbang rappers.
The History of Gangster Rap discusses it all from 1980 up till today.
It's always gonna be shit happening in the streets. You know what I mean? So it's always gonna be something to talk about.
The History of Gangster Rap in stores now.